Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Football Home podcast, formerly known as FHP. Again, we're a group of friends from all around the world talking about a sport we all love called football. So, I guess we're going to jump into the first game week, which is game week 5. And then as time goes on, we're going to jump into the game week 6 analysis. So, the first game for today is going to be uh, yeah, this was a thrashing. City scoring 6 goals against Nottingham, not even, scoring 1 goal. So it's an important game for City, scoring a lot of goals and maintaining a clean sheet. Like they really dominated the game. I mean, they had like 75% of the possession, and then we saw Haaland scoring a hat trick, and then Julian Alvarez, another new signing, scoring a brace in that game. Yeah, thoughts on that thrashing?
I
Yeah,
think that
I,
was
I,
Erling
I
Haaland.
go
Sorry,
on,
go on, Andreas.
go on, Harry.
It was Erling Haaland's second hat trick in a week,
Yeah,
breaking records all over the place. He's really a force to be reckoned with at the moment. You can't keep him quiet. He's just too good.
yeah.
He's been a great addition to that City squad, and him and De Bruyne seem to be linking up well. Him and Foden linking up well. It bodes well. You just worry if he gets injured.
Yeah, I mean,
But
to be
Alvarez
honest,
showed that he can do the job as well. So
yeah,
It's
he
just weird
doesn't.
it's weird how easy it is for him to score. That guy,
yeah,
it's like he doesn't even touch the ball most of the games, but he's there in the box and he can just tap the ball in, and it's impressive to see. And I support Liverpool, so I mean, do you see City do that? It it brings like it cringes me on the inside. However, I have to give them props. Like it was a stellar signing to get Holland, but like Harry said, what happens if Holland gets injured? What happens if God forbid, but like we said last time, like for me, Holland is carrying City at the moment. And you don't see Kevin De Bruyne scoring goals like he used to in previous seasons. And Foden, they're getting a lot of the assists and all that stuff, but they're not scoring the goals. And that's what's worrisome for me. As great as City was against Forest,
Yeah, I think something really interesting. Of course, there's City being great, and yeah, they have Holland. He is amazing, but I mean they have been that for like many years now. But yeah, Holland is of course a great signing and something they really need right now. But I think something that's really interesting to look at is how both City now and Liverpool have been able to beat teams like Nottingham and Bournemouth now that's just getting promoted, beating them so amazingly. Like 9-0 was Liverpool versus Bournemouth, and 6-0 is this. So I feel like it's really interesting to look at how crazy big a difference there is between the top teams of Premier League and then the newly promoted teams.
yeah. And Haaland also is actually good because it's like the proper striker. Like a lot of teams have been lacking that in the last few years. You haven't really had a proper number 9 who can just get tap-ins. It reminds me of the days of Wayne Rooney, of Didier Drogba, Thierry Henry, Alan Shearer. He's that kind of striker, and it's what the Premier League has been calling out for so many years. Like no one else really has that, and that's showing.
Yeah, I think you raise a good point, but I think, in my opinion, even if Haaland were to get injured, I mean, City was still won the league without a perfect number 9 out there. So whether he's there or not, I think City still have the venom to thrash any team, really. So I think we can now jump into the next important big match in Game Week 5. Arsenal scoring 2 goals against Aston Villa. It seems like Arsenal carried the majority of the possession with about 60%. And then we saw Jesus and Martinelli scoring. I mean, it must be a joy for most people that have him on FPL, because I know Jesus and Martinelli are quite big ones in the FPL market. Thoughts on that, Warren?
Yeah, totally. Martinelli is one of the key players of Arsenal at the moment. I think he's showing something that he didn't have last season, and I think he's got that, that creativity, but he's got the pace and he's got that killer instinct. And linking up with a player like Jesus is doing wonders for his career at Arsenal. And he's one of the players to watch in the season. He might not score every game, but he's there, and I don't foresee him being benched anytime soon, like Arteta did last season, putting him on the bench a lot of the games. I think he's going to be in that core starting 11, unless something crazy happens after the World Cup, um, when he goes to his country and playing for his country. But yeah, I foresee great things for Martinelli. Honestly, I do.
No, I was talking about Martinelli last week actually, and kind of saying he'd had a bit of a slow start to the season. He hadn't really done much. I was kind of asking the question, what was he struggling a little bit this season? But it was good to see him kind of prove everyone wrong and kind of show what he can do. Because he is a great young talent. He just hasn't had the chance to necessarily show that yet this season because Jesus has been outshining him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it was good to
yeah,
see that. And I
yeah.
must say,
Martinelli, go on.
Villa seem to be improving a little bit. They've been on the end of some bad defeats lately, but for them to only lose 2-1 isn't bad. And obviously, I know we'll talk about it later, but City drew with them 1-1. They're showing signs of improvement and finally kind of starting to click.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
maybe they
think
can do something this season. Because at times they haven't really shown anything this season. They've been poor. They've lacked something.
Yeah, they've been
Sorry, Andre.
inconsistent.
And yours?
Yeah, I think with Villa, completely right. They are starting to get a little bit better. I don't know if it's going to be enough to be like a top 10 team or something like that, but something is starting to happening, and that's really what they need, because I feel like everyone can agree that Gerrard is probably one of the most likely to get sacked as it is right now. So them starting to do better than in the beginning is great for them. And with City, no, not City, sorry, with Arsenal, I think I said that last week that Jesus and Zinchenko is probably the two greatest signings this season. So yeah, absolutely, Jesus is great. Really good move for him, and even better for Arsenal. And yeah, Martinelli is just a great young talent.
Yeah, and Arsenal seem to keep the winning streak going. So up until game week 5, 100% unstained record. We'll get to the other spot later on. But for
What's he
game
got
week
to say?
5, yeah, game week 5, Arsenal, yeah, still at the top,
Yeah, it's looked really
even
good so
beating
far.
City. So I mean, if they carry on like this,
Mm.
I mean, yeah, who knows?
They have a really good team. They seem to really be a good, solid group now. I don't know what's changed. They've just
Yeah.
brought in a couple of players. Obviously, Jesus is doing really well for them. At the back, you've got Saliba, you've got Sambi Lakonga in the midfield that provides that something extra. Odegaard is starting to shine a little bit now as well.
Yeah. And even the bench is strong. It's really strong, and I just think they've got everything covered, like in all areas, like defense, midfield, and in the front. And even Ramsdale, sometimes he does drop the ball, quite literally sometimes, but he's doing a great job. Arteta's really done a great job preseason and now within the first 5 game weeks to just mold Arsenal into this, kind of machine-like game players. But yeah, we're just all waiting with bated breath to see what's gonna happen, moving forward, because everybody's saying, oh, they've only played like small teams. The big team still has to come, and that's really where we're gonna see if Arsenal can, stand the test of time and keep the clean sheet. If we can call that right now in the on the league table.
Yeah, I mean, with the way Arsenal have been playing, it's almost like a kind reminder of, the once invincibles. And, under Arteta with a new tiki-taka playing style, they really look like a really solid team. Now we're gonna jump to a game that specifically Harry found quite controversial with Liverpool scoring two goals, and then obviously Roberto Firmino scoring the first goal. Isak with an amazing equalizer, a new signing for us for Newcastle. That oil money doing some magic on Liverpool, and then Fabio Carvalho with a 98th minute goal. I love
In
that.
5 minutes of injury time. 5 minutes of injury time, and yet the equaliser, the winner came the 98th minute.
Yeah.
Newcastle were robbed. Absolutely robbed. Everyone talks about Fergie time. Looks like the new term is clock time.
I think that's going to be a debate for the whole season about that added extra time that came in. However, to the credit of Liverpool, they were not bulking the time of the game, and I can see why the ref was doing that at the end, because people were like cringing to their hamstrings and they were getting cramps. But then 2 seconds later, they would be running around the field, going after the ball, but they just had cramps. And
Yeah.
Pope going down at the beginning of the game, and the game had to stop for like 3 minutes. And at the end, where the ball hit him, and then it went down, and it's just like all these little theatrics that went on during the game. It just, like they said, it was the perfect response. And whether it should have been that way or it shouldn't have, that's just the way it happened. And in classic Liverpool fashion, with a late goal that just clinched the victory, and it's a victory that they needed after the Bournemouth thing. Just to say that it wasn't just a one-time win, and really show that they are still the Liverpool that they were, and they're not perfect, but it's getting there.
Yeah, yeah, I think looking at the game and not the 5 last minutes of it, but looking at the whole game, I think it's clear to me that Newcastle is really good, and this signing with Isaac is just great. I've known him for a little while because he's from Sweden, so close to me. And yeah, he's like, I was really surprised when I heard it, but was like, this is great signing. And yeah, he showed that in that match already. And Liverpool has been bad so far. I think we can agree on that. But this is what Liverpool is just always doing. They don't always have the best matches, but when they then are playing, they score the goals that's needed to win. And at the end of the day, it's played for however the ref wants it to be played. So I feel like you can always argue with what should it have ended before, or yeah. And I think there's both sides to it, of both Newcastle playing and being and kind of getting, what was it, they a lot of players was getting cramped and kind of stuff like that. So I feel like Newcastle,
Basically, time wasting. Yeah.
Newcastle has a big part of it themselves.
Yeah.
But I mean, you will always get to a point where when one team wins and the other loses, you will always end up seeing that Newcastle was robbed in this situation, because they kind of were, but they were a part of it themselves as well. So yeah, and at the end of the day, the whistle is the whistle. No one can really do anything about it. So I feel like you can see it from both sides. Newcastle was robbed, but they were a part of getting robbed as well.
And
and
then
yeah,
for,
took advantage of the chances they got, and that's how you win matches. Liverpool is playing.
Fabio
Liverpool,
will scoring his second goal of the season. I mean, Carvalho is proving to be like the star boy that everybody's calling him now on social media. He's the star boy. He's Luis Diaz's dance partner, dancing on the on the touchline when they're scoring. And people were saying, where was Salah in the Bournemouth game? Well, Salah just proved himself. He's still there. He was part of two of this. He was assisted both goals. Got the credit for it. So
On the
yeah,
day that I
so
took
I
him out of my team.
What is that?
right.
On the day that I took him out of my team.
Happens to everybody in FPL. The moment you take a player out, they do well. I just want to piggyback on what Andrea said about Liverpool playing badly. I don't think they're playing badly. They're just not on the standard that they were last season yet. And
or the last
I
3 or 4 seasons.
I just think with the players coming back from injury now, it's gonna get better.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, and yeah, I'm not saying they're playing bad, but they have not been on the form they have been the last 3 or 4
Yes,
seasons, not
yes.
yet at least. But I mean, there's still a
Yeah.
whole season to go.
The problem is you can't
And
blame it on
I feel like
injury.
important thing with this, and as I said, um, Liverpool is playing to win, and they won, and that's at the end of the day, that's what it's about.
Yes.
That's what Liverpool is just great at, and that's what all the big teams are great at. It's not just Liverpool, but maybe playing a bad match but end up winning. That's what defines the big teams.
Okay.
Yeah,
You can't just put it down to injuries because they have
I'm not
enough
saying
quality in the team to be able to do well. The likes of Harvey Elliott is supposed to be the next big thing. You have the
I'm
likes
not
of
blaming it on.
Carvalho and that the midfield has been a problem in recent years.
I'm
Likes
not
of
blaming it on the injuries at all. I'm just saying if once the injured players are coming back, the team will get their shape back and the consistency that they had. I'm not saying because of the injuries we're playing bad or the lack of players. I'm just saying once the injured players are coming back, it should get better. That's all I said.
No, I get that. I'm just saying. I know Liverpool have struggled in midfield for years, so I mean, for the last few years, I mean, like Henderson's getting old. Oxlade-Chamberlain has been
Always
quite.
injured.
Naby Keita isn't necessarily proven himself. There's been a
Permanent
lot
sick
of
card.
question marks over that midfield, and that's what's going to cost Liverpool in the last few years. I think actually now that I think their midfield now is actually better than it was in the last few seasons with Harvey Elliott in there with Fabio Carvalho.
Carvalho.
It is actually a better midfield, in my opinion, now. Do we feel like the loss of Mane is affecting Liverpool a little bit?
Good question. It also goes back to like what was Mane's contribution and who is taking up Mane's position. Luis Diaz is quite a good player, good endurance, good ball retention. He can dribble, do those small crosses, get into the like 18 area. So, is really Mane affecting the team, or is maybe the change in the way Liverpool are playing? Because usually Liverpool play in a false nine, so sort of like game style. But now we're starting to play game where we have like a traditional nine up front. So is that maybe what's affecting the way we're playing? Warren, thoughts on that? Last thought.
I just think, I think Mane leaving did have a kind of an impact on it, but I also think it's the players that left with Mane as well. You lost Origi, you lost Minamino. That's players that scored goals in really like Jota. Nunes was suspended. Not making excuses. I'm just saying there's three big players that left, and the people that we got in their place are not. I wouldn't say they're not at the level, but it's not the same caliber, if you will.
Okay, that should sum that up. Quite long discussion and hot takes on the Liverpool versus Newcastle game. Next up is a game that I think I was happy with how it ended because Chelsea lost to Southampton of all teams, given how their spell hasn't been quite that perfect this season. And Raheem Sterling scored sort of like a consolation goal at the end for Chelsea just to give the losers some hope. But yeah, it seemed like Chelsea really dominated the possession of the game, playing a 4-4-2 structure, which is atypical because we know with Tuchel's arrival in the English Premier League, he prefers to play a back three with Chelsea. So, Andres, what are your thoughts on that strategic formational change and thoughts on the game overall?
my thoughts are we should move on to the next match. That's my main thoughts.
Okay.
So, no, I defensive. There really are some problems. Like and I don't even know why, and I don't even know how, because Koulibaly is a great defender.
Thiago Silva is as well.
What?
Thiago Silva as well.
Yeah, great as well. And Aspilicueta has been playing for us for ages. James is a great player. Cucurella has been great. I don't know what's wrong. Mendy has been one of the best keepers in Premier League, or maybe even the world, the last couple of seasons. So I don't know what's wrong with him, but he's looking extremely off color. And he's probably the main reason for our problems.
Is the midfield an issue, do you think?
What?
Is the midfield an issue, do you think?
I think the midfield without Kante is a huge issue. I think that's how it's going to be with Chelsea as we are playing right now. We just can't do without Kante. Or we can, but it's like he is a huge thing. But I feel like someone like Loftus-Cheek has been great so far, actually, which I did not expect. And so I it's difficult to say. And yeah, Sterling is doing very well as well, actually. I think it's sadly just exactly like last season. We are okay defensive, but at the same time can really struggle in some games, and we just lack that clear striker. And I think that's the problem, because let's say we had Haaland, then we will have scored 4 games and we will have won the match, right?
I also think you need the service from the midfield, though. I don't think it's just about having a good striker. You need the likes of Kevin De Bruyne in that midfield, who's going to supply the likes of the Haalands. You need someone to shoot the ball to them.
But I feel like the midfield is strong enough there. Cucurella, James, both great at making assists. Again, Loftus-Cheek has been great. I don't like the position Mount is playing in, but Mount is a great player as well. So not Cucurella, Kovacic, Jorginho. I mean, it could be stronger, but I think we have a good midfield. And I think what's really wrong is just the defensive not working at all right now, and then lacking the clear striker. And I think that's just how the problem. I think the problem also is that we lost Christensen and Rudiger, and then we got 2 new defenders in Fofana and Koulibaly, and then we lost Alonso. We got Cucurella instead, which is an upgrade. But I feel like besides Cucurella being an upgrade, I feel like we're just getting new signings. That's not really an improvement. It's just a replacement, especially defensive. And
what about Southampton? They had quite a little bit of a slow start to the season, and then suddenly they're scoring goals, they're equalizing, they're challenging teams now, and they're not winning all the matches, but they're actually winning games. And they've signed a new striker that's getting the ball into the net, and I think that's the important thing. In where, like Harry said, maybe with Chelsea they're not getting the service they need for Sterling and Mount and Ziyech to get the ball into the to seal the deal, to close, to give that killer shot. And I do think with Chelsea it's going to take a bit of time, especially because they brought in a plethora of new players, and it's just going to take some time for that team to gel. And because it's worrisome for me, because you haven't really seen Mount. You haven't really seen Ziyech in the, on the score sheets. Where are they? Because Mount was like, the top scorer last season, and he's nowhere to be found in the first 5 games, which is worrisome for a team like Chelsea.
Yeah, I think the
problem there is that now he's playing in the number 9 spot. He's playing in that false 9, and he's not able to kind of get others onto the ball. Whereas I think where he was playing in the number 10, and that's where he's played for England as well, he was very good at getting others onto the ball and feeding the strikers and feeding the forwards. But without him in that midfield, there's a gaping hole in that number 10 spot.
Yeah,
for me. And that's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
issue maybe with Mason Mount. Whereas I think now that
yeah,
they've got Aubameyang, maybe he can slot back into his number 10 spot
Mm.
and do more work in that central part, in that back a little bit,
Yeah.
and be able to feed the likes of Aubameyang and Sterling and whoever else plays on the right hand side.
yeah. I think with Mount, I don't like the position he's playing in. I think he can do it great, but Mount just is this like attacking midfielder kind of guy, and that's where he has been shining for us. So I don't really like this, and I don't even know if I really like Tuchel playing with three in the back. I think it's making a mistake with
Ooh.
with the defensive. Know what with the midfield, and I think we could it would be better if we had two defensive, and then we had Mount as a central midfielder or attacking midfielder. I think having three defenders is good if it works, but right now it's not working. And I think that's something that should be looked at. And I think again Mount need to play more attacking midfield.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. That seems to be quite a mouthful for Chelsea, but hopefully, maybe in the next game week that we're going to be talking about now, game week 6, things look hopefully better for them. Who knows? So the first game week for this week, well, the first game we're going to be talking about is one where 7 goals were scored by obviously teams that aren't typically in the top 6. Obviously, we know how Leeds were playing under Marcelo Bielsa, scoring 5 goals one week, and then the next conceding 6 or something. But we're obviously seeing a different Leeds under Jesse Marsh.
Jesse, yeah.
Yeah, because they seem to have had 70% possession of the game, scored 2 goals, but obviously didn't win the game. While Brentford, on the other hand, had about 30% of the possession. But then we saw Ivan Toney score a hat trick, and I'm so dumb for not including him in my team that week. And then Buemo scoring a goal as well for Brentford. Thoughts on that goal, full game?
I watched half of the game because I was watching the Chelsea game, and then I had to switch over. And it seems when I switched over from the Chelsea game, the action happened in the Chelsea game. It was just like, because I had a friend text me, and he was like, "You watch the Brentford game?" And I was like, I switched over, and like they were scoring goals, but I think Leeds made a lot of mistakes in that game. And like somebody said on one other podcast that I was listening to, it's not always about the possession in football, because you can have all the possession, but if you don't make chances with that possession, you're not going to win the game. And I think that's what happened with Leeds. They made a lot of mistakes, and Brentford just they capitalized on it.
Yeah, I think again. I think I said it last week, and I'm saying it again. Brentford is just looking really good, and I again, everyone was talking about this is going, and I was as well talking about this is going to be really difficult without Eriksen, and they're just doing amazing.
Yeah.
And I mean, Leeds is really great as well in general.
Yeah,
so
started really strong.
Exactly. So and them scoring 2 goals is almost bad in a way, which is insane, because scoring 2 goals is pretty good in any match. But yeah, that's just not good in this case, because they're scoring so much usually. And yeah, Brentford just scoring 5 makes it not enough, of course. But yeah, Brentford is just. I mean, I will not be shocked if both teams ended up in top 10, honestly, because I think this is some of the really surprising great teams. I think Leeds was 16 or 17 last season, so a really improvement, of course, and same with Brentford. So yeah, I think this is probably the 2 biggest teams
surprises
this season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's good though. I think Ivan Toney seemed to be doing a lot this season. He seemed to really be shining.
Yeah.
He's been really good. But both these teams actually are teams that have actually done really well over the summer, that both managers, Thomas Frank and Jesse Marsh, have really gotten their side together. They have an identity. They have a way that they want to play. They're 2 teams that you would imagine will end up mid-table. that you
Yeah.
can't really see them getting relegated. But they have a really strong identity now. You can see the way they want to play, and they've got both teams in to. They've got their teams set up really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Amazing thoughts on that game. We can switch to the Villa versus City,
City.
though. I mean, it's a game I'm happy with the way, also with the way it ended, because obviously City dropping 2 important points, and maybe that could be the 2 points that they need to win the league, and they hopefully lose out to Liverpool. Who knows? But yeah, it was quite
No
an
chance.
interesting. It's got an interesting game because obviously City is known with having a lot of possession. They had about 72% possession in the game, and they were playing a 4-4-3 formation, while Villa was playing a 4-5-2. So it was like have that mid block or low block on City, because City is known for their possession. And again, Haaland scoring a goal this time. Maybe him not scoring that goal could have meant Villa wins. Who knows? So his impact
Okay.
is really valuable for City.
Yeah, that game was interesting because there was a lot of controversy also at the end for that game with the Coutinho offside
Mm.
thing, where I feel like linesmen were too quick to lift the flag, and has he
That's
not done that?
in my opinion. Linesmen aren't quick enough to put their flags up. They wait too long.
Yeah, and
I
I
thought-
feel like mistakes like that is what's causing certain teams. I had a lot to say about this in the week, but I feel like mistakes by the officials and the linesmen, it really goes unpunished, and the teams that bears the brunt of it at the end of the day, they're just really like, oh, okay, well, we apologize, and well, screw your 2 points or whatever points, because it happened last season also with the Everton and City game, where there was a blatant handball and there was no penalty given. And I feel like it's with certain teams that VAR just couldn't be bothered to step in, because why wasn't it checked? Why wasn't that offside thing checked? And what happens as a result of it? Because that could have been a game changer for Villa.
Yeah. I think you are absolutely right. Being a ref is it's such an important job, and it is pretty crazy actually that in 2022 it's barely punished if you do anything. And I think it's pretty clear that a lot of the managers as well agree with this. Of course, sometimes when they talk about it, it's because they are angry they lost or something.
Yeah.
But as soon as anyone starts talking about it, it's very quickly going out to be okay. You get punished for saying this or something
Yeah.
like that. Which of course should happen, because it's not okay for managers to really assume that the ref is doing something illegal on purpose. But I think I absolutely agree with Warren that it's something that should really be looked at. And yeah, with the game,
Itself, yeah.
it's yeah. I mean, I think this can be a game City can look back at and be like, can this end up costing us the whole thing? And maybe clearly that's probably too soon to talk about,
To
but
say,
but this is not good. And but again, yeah, as we said about with Villa and the other match, Villa is going forward and getting this draw is probably their best result so far this season.
yeah, and it's interesting because it's the second Saturday that City has dropped points. They dropped points against Newcastle. They dropped points against Villa, which they didn't do last season, which is quite interesting if you look at it. And they've got Spurs next, and I'm just thinking, how do they go into that game? What kind of mindset does Pep go into that game? Because Spurs helped him last season. So I'm just saying, it's not going to be an easy thing. I'm not saying City won't win, but chances are strong they might drop points again. And that's going to be worrisome because they haven't dropped a lot of points last season. This season is a bit different. It's very unpredictable.
I do worry about City that maybe sometimes they're not going to be able to kind of bully teams, and like when teams kind of sit back and make it hard for them, they are going to find it hard this season.
Hmm.
Like they can't. They sometimes do struggle to break the likes of these teams down, and maybe the defense is an issue at the moment. I don't know why it is, but they did concede 3 against Newcastle. They conceded 1 against Villa. It should be solid at the back. They have a very decent back line, probably the best back four in the Premier League, arguably, in Cancelo, Diaz, Stones, and Walker. So it's not like it's a weak back four or anything. And Edison in goal is very, very good too. It does worry me though how open they are defensively and how
Yeah, and
easy.
they've been conceding a lot of goals.
Maybe it's the pace that they don't deal well with. Like when teams kind of go at them and attack rather than sit back. Maybe that's
Yeah,
the way to play against City.
Yeah, and that's where it's going to be really interesting, because that's where they really rely on Holland, because there will be matches where he is not making hat tricks, and this is one of the matches, and that's where there's a problem, because defensive, they are not the greatest team right now, and that those matches will clearly always happen where Holland can make hat tricks, and it's in those matches they will lose points if no one else is doing it, and that's what we are seeing with this. But I also think quickly with Villa, I was talking to someone from Birmingham about the match, and he said he knew some people that expected Gerrard to get fired or sacked before this match, or not before, but if they lost this match. So I feel like Gerrard, not that he was expecting to get sacked, but I feel like Gerrard knows he needs to step up now, and I think he really showed with this result that he actually can do something with Villa.
Yeah, absolutely a good point in that one. I think next up we can jump to speaking about that upward trajectory for Chelsea finally against West Ham. It seems like Chelsea really dominated this game with holding about 70% possession, and they switched back to their back three formation instead of sticking to that four that gave them that loss. So we're seeing Tuchel making some tactical changes, and interesting to see Fofana playing in that centre back position. I'm not too sure if it's a centre back or left back or something like that. And then we saw Chilwell and Havertz score very important goals in the game, and it's quite interesting to see a left wing back in Chilwell scoring a goal. So it's nice to see that sort of like different impact in the game. And then we saw Declan Rice also give that, score that one winning goal, like I said, to give hope to the losers. But, obviously they didn't score that equalizer in the end. Thoughts on that, Andreas?
I think, didn't West Ham score the first goal?
Yes,
Actually?
yes. Antonio scored the first goal.
Yeah. I think it's a good win. Of course, a win is always good, but I think at the end of the day, it's just the same as with Southampton. Southampton is maybe in a good period. It's all good, all that, but we I mean, three goals conceded against Southampton and West Ham in 2 games. That's not good enough. That's really not good enough. And that's just where it comes down to defensive. It's just not good enough. I think West Ham so far has scored 3 or 4 goals overall in all the games. So and what is the 19th, 20th? They're not much above that in the table. So I mean, we should win this. I mean, it's I can't go like, yay, we won a match, because we should win this. We should win it 3-0 or 2-0, but they should not score against us. So and then with the Southampton game as well, they scored 2 goals against us. And yeah, I just think that's what it comes down to at the end. That sure, we can score some goals here. We have 2 that can score. Harvard finally scored a goal, but I mean, it's not good enough if the other teams keep scoring. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
even I think
it really is our main problem. And of course we need one that can score. Sterling has been good. Aubameyang can hopefully score, but it doesn't matter if the others keep scoring.
Yeah,
But should the
sorry, go on, Paul.
but should the goal where Mendy went down that was disallowed against Maxwell Cornet, should that goal not have stood? Was that a foul?
I was not able to
If you
see.
watch the game, because
Yeah,
everybody that was on that panel on Matchday Live agreed
yeah.
that goal should not have been disallowed.
Mm.
Nothing against Chelsea. Nothing. I'm a neutral when it comes to Chelsea and West Ham.
Yeah.
Love both teams. For different reasons, but I just feel like West Ham was robbed in that case by
Yeah.
the officials once again, where VAR did a check. And oh yeah, Mendy was fouled, but he didn't even have control of the ball. So I mean, how was he fouled? I just feel like
I was not able to see it, but I will not even be surprised if West Ham should have scored and it should have been 2-2.
And
But
Declan
yeah,
Rice
Mendy,
said that after the match, he said we were robbed. He said he was not happy at all.
yeah, definitely. And now Mendy is injured because Kepa was playing tonight. And he's got a shoulder injury. So we don't know how long Mendy's going to be out now, and that could be detrimental to Chelsea. However, Kepa has surprised people in the past, so we'll see.
But quickly with that, I absolutely Mendy is our main keeper. But I said it with the Southampton game. I feel like what really comes down to is Mendy is probably the main problem defensive. Surely the others are not good enough, but are not playing good enough right now at least. But Mendy has looking really off color so far, and that's what worries me. So yeah, of course Kepa playing is even worse, but I just don't trust Mendy right now, and that really sucks because I was so happy when we got him. He has been so great for us the last couple of seasons, but right now something looks really wrong, and I think he's a big part of that.
West Ham are struggling big time this season as well.
Yeah.
That is like they were so good last season. They were really pushing for Champions League spots. They were really a top side. They dropped off a little bit towards the end of the season, but the last couple of seasons they've been really threatening, really promising. And you kind of had this feeling maybe this year will be the year that they can go and get the Champions League. They looked really good in the Europa League last year at times as well. What's happening to them? They seem to just.
But do you think? But do you
maybe
think maybe they?
getting better, and they haven't necessarily got the best recruitment, and so things are going wrong. But it is worrying for them.
Yeah.
And David Moyes' job must be coming on under pressure soon.
Definitely.
He does a great job, but it'd be sad to see him go.
But maybe they're just focusing. I don't know. Maybe this is just me guessing. They're playing Conference League, and maybe they're just aiming to win that to get into the Champions League. I don't know. Maybe that's if their priorities. Then they've realized that maybe it's going to be an uphill battle in the Premier League. But for West Ham, that has held teams like Liverpool and Arsenal and those type of Chelsea even last season. Like I don't know what's happening with them. They had a poor start, but we've seen winning 1, 2, 3 games, you can go into the top again, top 5, top 6, because everybody's dropping points at this moment. Every single team is dropping points, and 1 or 2 wins is enough to get you back to the top 4, top 5. So it's really unpredictable this season. So yes, the manager's job may be on the line, but I feel like if you score, you win a game or 2, it's crucial for your placement on the league.
Yeah.
And they'll need to target some games now that they can say, look, this is, I don't know, I can't remember off the top of my head their fixtures, but they need to look.
Yeah, they're playing Newcastle next.
That'll be a tough one. Newcastle are in good form at the moment, but there's no reason why they can't.
Yeah, I think with first of all, with West Ham, they're playing conference, right? So if they
Conference
win,
League,
they will go into Europa League and not Champions League. So, but I mean, it's still good playing Europa League. But and yeah, that's what Frankfurt did when they played Europa League. They did not really focus about Bundesliga. They ended 11th in Bundesliga last season. But they won Europa League, so they're playing Champions League now. But it's not quite the same. I mean, Europa League is still big and all that, but it's not quite the same when you're playing conference because you're just going into Europa League. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, still a big thing. But the money from Champions League to Europa League is crazily different. And
Yeah.
and and yeah, but it really is like it's insane how big a difference there is on playing Champions League, Europa League, and then even conference. But but um, but I think right now the problem with West Ham also is, yeah, you said it makes perfect sense what you're saying with if they can just focus on conference, then they can go into Europa. That makes
I just
perfect
think
sense.
that yeah, I just think their priority isn't with the Premier League this
Yeah,
season. I don't know. I could be
and
wrong.
But it
completely
should
completely
be.
agree.
Whoever is not relegated.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
definitely.
that's what I was going to say. I think that's what I'm worried about right now. Looking at them right now, I don't know if it will go to that, but right now I'm more worried about them getting relegated than
I, I, I,
anything.
I just think they're not playing to win the league or get to,
Yeah, yeah,
that championship spots. I just Champions League spots or Europa spots. I just think
yeah,
they're playing for the Premier League. They
yeah,
play because they're already in the conference.
yeah,
So for them it's like they've already got that stepping stone. So rather focus on that and make sure that they don't get relegated. So they don't care where they're going to end up as long as it's not the bottom three. I just feel like
yeah, yeah.
that's the way that I'm viewing it, but I could be wrong.
No, I think you're absolutely right, and I think that's a good strategy. Right now, I'm just more worried about them not even making it to Premier League next season. That's I
Yes,
don't think
definitely.
I don't know if it will go there. I hope they will fix it. I like West Ham, but right now I'm worried about that because they are really not looking that good at all. Which is insane because as Harry said, last year they were great. Not even last year, the last 3 years or something
Yeah.
they have been great. And
Yeah.
sure they stepped a little bit down at the end of last season, but they were playing Europa League and they came pretty far in that.
Yeah,
So
semifinals.
naturally they don't have the team of City or Liverpool or Chelsea. So naturally they will not play as good at the end of Premier League when they have Europa League as well. So yeah, what's going on right now is crazy.
Yeah. Maybe we should try to be more summative for the next two games, maybe 6 minutes each, and then the next game coming up is the Merseyside derby. I
Uh,
wish Jason, the Everton fan, was here so I could hate on him, but obviously it ended up in a draw. Liverpool had 60% of the possession, and we had 8 shots on target, and we just couldn't get one goal in. I think Pickford was quite crucial in that game, even though he did some time wasting tactics at the end and ended up getting a yellow card for that. And then we saw Cody, even a former Liverpool player, score against us, but it was ruled offside after a VAR check. There's really plenty to talk about in the game. The Van Dijk yellow card. What are you guys' thoughts on that, Warren?
yeah, it was the tale of the two goalkeepers for me because Allison and Pickford they both made crucial saves, and then you had the shots of the crossbars like from Davies from Everton, and you've got um, um, Nunez and Diaz both
Yeah,
hitting both sides of the post, and
yeah,
the balls just didn't want to go in. It was the most entertaining goalless game that I've watched in
yeah.
a while. But it was really good. It had all the drama of a Merseyside derby,
Mm.
but it's just disappointing that there was no winner at the end of the game. But I mean, a point is a point, and you just have to move on. But it was a great game to watch. I just feel like the good thing nobody got red carded, so that's a good thing.
Yes.
Nunez
Nunez,
stayed on the pitch somehow.
shocker.
Yeah, I think I think that kind of match where you can have Liverpool. That I mean, of course, it's a huge match, but I mean,
Mm.
to be fair, Liverpool is a much better team than Everton as it is right now. So having a match where you have Everton with Lampard, a great footballer, of course, having he has been struggling a lot. So have a team like Everton that's not doing good right now, have them go in. Surely Liverpool has not been the greatest either, but at the same time it's still a huge difference. So it's just so it what makes football so great, that you can have two so different teams. But this match means so much. No matter if you get relegated, no matter if you win the whole season, win Champions League, Premier League, win everything, you want to win this match. No matter if you win anything else, you want to win this, and that's just what makes football so great.
Yeah.
Richard, do you think that we needed Origi for this match?
Yeah, I mean, I personally was said. I mean, there's a quote that keeps going around that football is nothing without Origi, and I think, at least in my perspective, that is
We needed our knight in shining armor to win us that last, that last minute clincher. But oh well, we gotta just take the point and move on. But it was a great game to watch. It definitely was.
Some strange team choices as well. Tsimikas starting ahead of Robertson. Trent being taken off.
In a minute before a clean sheet is ordered.
Yeah, I've also heard.
But that was a weird change to me. I don't know why he did that. Because Liverpool was just finding, their rhythm at the beginning of the second half. And, they were pressing, they were boxing Everton in, and then he makes that change and everything just, splintered afterwards. I don't know why he made that change.
It feels like Klopp is just trying to tinker now. He knows they're under pressure. He knows they're struggling. Just trying to tinker, hoping that something clicks, that something works.
I just don't understand how you take Trent off and put Milner on. Doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't. Milner doesn't have that pace. He doesn't have that, creativity that Trent brings to the game. I didn't think that was a good swap.
At this point, Milner just needs to retire. He's been a good servant for the likes of Aston Villa and Liverpool.
Man City and...
Oh, God, I forgot he was at City. He just needs to go at this point. But I thought Everton were quite... Jordan Pickford in particular was shining out. He was man of the match.
Yeah.
Made some good saves. Made a brilliant fingertip save from Salah, I think it was. He just saved it.
I just don't understand why he has to celebrate his goal, his save, when that's what he gets paid to do. I mean, come on now. Yes, because you saved the thing. Come on now. You're there. That's why you're there. That's your job. To stop the ball from going in.
Yeah.
But it was a brilliant fingertip save that looked like it went off the post.
But it was actually his finger.
Made it go off the post. If he hadn't got a finger to it, it would have just gone in.
Yeah,
he was very good. Especially in the World Cup year. He's doing that because I know a lot of the time Pickford gets a lot of shit from people. Sorry. He shouldn't have got a lot of he gets a lot of crap from people, but it's good to see him actually putting his hand up and showing that he can do what he can do, especially in the World Cup year as well, because his place will be under pressure with Aaron Ramsdale performing so well at Arsenal.
Yes.
Dean Henderson also shining bright at Nottingham Forest at the moment. So his place has been coming under pressure for England. So good to see him kind of getting himself on the scoreboard. Not on the scoreboard, but showing what he can do.
Yeah.
For those who is watching that don't really know Harry is a fan of the English team. So when he talks good about Pickford, it's probably because he's from England. Just for those who don't know.
It's coming home, Andreas. It's coming home. The women did it, the men can do it too.
Yes.
Harry, would you like to say something?
Qualified for the World Cup during the week.
Yeah.
Good to see.
Awesome. Oh, I guess we can jump on to the next game, I guess, which is the United versus Arsenal game, quite an entertaining game. I mean, we saw Arsenal carrying about 60% of the possession, and we saw Rashford score a brace, which is incredible to see. And most importantly, Anthony, the new signing, made that first goal impact in the game. Plenty to really talk about in this game. What are your thoughts, Harry?
I think Marcus Rashford actually kind of like a new signing at this point because
Exactly.
he has struggled the last few years.
Yeah.
It's good to see him. Oh, I'm sorry, watching the City game here. But yeah, Marcus Rashford's kind of got back into a little bit of form now, kind of.
Mm.
And I think he can work well with the likes of Anthony and Jadon Sancho. I think that's a very fearsome front three, very young, pacey, creative front three. Arsenal were actually the better side up until United scored, and then they just fell apart. That's a position Arsenal haven't been in this year, I don't think. I don't think they've gone behind too many times. And they struggled. They were put under pressure. They did have a goal ruled out as well. Martinelli scored, but they pulled it back for a foul. Odegaard, I think it was on Ericsson. I know the pundits were kind of Roy Keane and Jimmy Floyd after the game were kind of saying it was a bit soft, that back in their day that would never have been a foul. I think VAR kind of has to intervene because that's what it's there for. But like you do kind of wonder sometimes whether the likes of VAR does take out an element of the game that would have been there beforehand, and kind of the tackles that would have been made beforehand, could they now? They're not allowed, and it may get to a point where zero physicality is allowed. It's VAR. It was kind of changing football, really. And it's kind of sad to see.
I just wish that they were consistent. That's just my thing with VAR. I don't mind it being there, but be consistent. Don't be okay for one game we're gonna let it slide, for other game we're gonna review it. Like, come on, be consistent. But but back to the game itself. That pains me to say this, but I'm gonna say it. Manchester United is impressing me. I have to say it. I have to give credit where credit is due. What Eric Ten Hag is doing at Manchester United is working, and it started working when he changed the way his starting lineup is presenting. Starting from the Liverpool game, I have to give the man props. Taking Harry Maguire out was the best thing he could ever done. Like,
Exactly.
Come on. Because Harry Maguire came out to the Arsenal game and he got a yellow card like 10 seconds later. Come on now. That just tells you everything.
You have to admit it, Harry. You have to admit it at this point.
I'm just saying.
We were complaining in the Brentford game that Martinez wasn't cut out for the Premier League. He was struggling big time. So not necessarily that he changed the lineup that game and it didn't work out. So
I'm just saying.
You're never
but I'm
going
saying
to admit it, Harry. It's never going to happen.
We'll agree to disagree. But for me, the way that he's starting is even with the Ilanga tweak this game week where he brought in Anthony. Genius move, because it worked out for him. And I feel like, people like Ronaldo should be worried now, because will he ever get a start now? Because I feel like the people that's playing, even Fernandes, is providing the assists. He's driving the ball forward for Rashford and Sancho and those players to actually get the ball into the box. And I feel like I have to give props. I have to, even though it kills me to do it. But Manchester United is on a roll, and if they can stay on this roll, I mean, they'll prove the doubters wrong. Let me put it that way.
They have a strong side. I mean, McTominay and Ericsson are keeping Casemiro out at the side at the moment.
Yes, definitely. Like people like Fred even is now permanently on the bench. I mean, I'm getting worried for staple United players like Maguire and Ronaldo and what's his face, Fred, that they're permanently not, because I mean, why change something that's not broken?
Yeah.
It's working for Ten Hag, so why change it? And it worked perfectly. They're the only team this season that beat Arsenal. Come on.
Well, Arsenal haven't faced any. That's the thing. Arsenal haven't faced anyone yet.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying that's a badge of honor. That's a badge of honor that United can carry to them. They beat the
Yeah.
the ultimate Premier League team at the moment, which is Arsenal. They haven't lost. They're the first team to defeat them.
Yeah.
And that's going to give them momentum going forward, I believe. I don't know who United is facing next, but we'll see.
Let me have a quick
Yeah, I completely agree. United was amazing. They did really good. But I have to be honest and say that I
Palace
feel
away.
like Arsenal, who
United Palace away on Sunday.
Okay.
Ooh, that's going to be interesting.
but I have to be honest and say that I feel like as great as United was, especially offensive, Arsenal was not that good defensive. That there
True.
were really many times where I looked at it and was like, okay, great passing from Eriksen or whoever it was, but Arsenal should have been there, and the defensive was just not there. The most of the
I feel like United exposed the defensive flaw of Arsenal on Sunday. I definitely do. I feel like also Arsenal was just not firing on all cylinders for some reason.
yeah,
They
exactly.
just couldn't, and United has this for the last couple of game weeks. I've seen they've got this knack of holding teams like hostage. If I can put it that way, because but what impressed me on Sunday was they didn't just stick to the one goal and then try to protect their clean sheet. They actually went for it, and as a football fan, I was impressed. I have to give credit where credit is due.
Yeah, I'm completely agree. Again, United did great, and the new signing Anthony was amazing, and Rashford finally starting to show how great he was a few seasons ago.
And I'm also glad that Fernandez is getting some recognition. He's scoring, he's assisting. Because at the end of last season, Fernandez was kind of disappearing. And I was like, what's happening to this guy? And I'm glad to see that he's owning, when he's wearing the captaincy armband, he's owning it, and he's giving it his all in the games. He's creating chances. He's offering assists. He's actually scoring goals. He's in the mix of everything. And like I said, if I was Ronaldo, with all the talk that he's been talking about leaving the club and all that stuff, like I would be worried.
Yeah.
There's enough games though this season for them to be okay. Like Ronaldo will get enough games, like between the Europa League starting now this week. There will be changes against Real Sociedad on Thursday, so likely he will get a game.
Most definitely.
But quickly with Arsenal again, I just feel like they really they were not terrible, but I just feel like especially defensive that there were some troubles, and I feel like that's what we've talked about it already many times. How would it be when Arsenal play the big teams? And I feel like we saw the first example of that here, and that was not looking good. Arsenal still played good. They were good offensive, but they only scored one goal, and that's clearly not enough when the other team scored 3. And I feel like defensive was Arsenal's biggest problem.
Definitely. They were definitely exposed.
Yeah. And that's what they have to be worried about when they play City.
Going forward.
Spurs, all those teams.
Haaland just scored for City.
Oh my God.
Kevin De Bruyne cross, knocks it in. So City
yay!
Yeah.
UCL fantasy points for me.
Maybe we can jump into some updates concerning UEFA Champions League. So Dynamo won 1 goal against Chelsea, unfortunately goalless.
Let's move on. Come on, let's move on. Next match.
And then Dortmund scored 3 goals against Copenhagen. I'm sure Andres is not too happy about that as well.
It's not
That's
Andreas'
bogus,
night
team.
tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to disappear from now on. Bye bye, guys.
I'll
It'll
be
go
And then,
better next week.
with
It'll go
Real
better
Space.
next week.
Oh, for fuck.
and then we're also seeing Man City. Obviously, Harry pointed it out, scoring against Sevilla, and then PSG also have scored against Juventus
Mbappe.
as well. Yes. And then the last game maybe we can chat about is Shakhtar Donetsk scoring 1 goal against RB Leipzig. So, Warren, can you jump us into the deadline day transfers?
Deadline day. Okay, crazy deadline day for transfers. I'm not gonna drag this out too long because we've touched
Yes.
most of it in the last podcast. But first of all, Anthony for Manchester United, great signing. But I love the fact that he wanted to come to United. He was like, I don't want to stay where I am. I want to go to United. I don't want to hear anything about it. I want to go there. And what a signing he has been, and he proved himself. In the last game we just spoke about it.
He's done really well, I think. He was very good, and I think his creativity will add an extra dimension for United that they've been lacking. I think alongside
He's quite a spitfire. That one. He has got a fiery side to him that I think that's exactly what United needs at this point. They need that killer instinct.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, obviously, and at the same time, like they still have Ronaldo on the bench. I mean, it's looking pretty good. Yeah.
And Richard, do you have any thoughts about Anthony for United?
Most of you guys have talked about it, so you can jump onto the other transfer.
Okay. The other signing was for Chelsea. Actually, two for Fofana. Obviously, finally, after weeks of teasing the public, like it was the longest. I think the longest deal negotiating thing that happened. But finally, Fofana, he got his first start on Sunday. On Saturday, I mean, Saturday. Andreas, what did you think about Fofana?
On paper, I think it's a very good signing. But again, I mean, now he has played a few games, and I'm just not seeing that it's changing or and making anything better. At least not yet. And I think, as you said, you said it, Warren, that with all these new signings, it will take time before they
definitely
together.
Game time.
And clearly that's how it will be, hopefully. But
maybe
right
after
now, it's just not good enough.
Maybe after the international break.
Hopefully before that, because then we will go to championship.
Okay. And then the other signing for Chelsea was Aubameyang, who came in from Barcelona on deadline day. It actually went after deadline day, so the announcement was made the day afterwards. And I think he started in the in the Champions League match earlier today. However, Chelsea did lose. So should Chelsea be concerned moving forward?
I think he was a decent player when he was at Arsenal. I think they actually got rid of him. He wasn't. I thought it was very surprising when he left Arsenal actually to go to Barcelona, because he was doing very well and he was scoring a lot and linking up well. He's a very good player. I don't know whether he can replicate that, but it's what Chelsea have been crying out for. They've been crying out for a striker. So.
And then the curse number 9, it hit again today. No goals.
Yeah.
Maybe needs time.
Yeah, maybe the time. It was his first match. It was his first match. So who knows?
Yeah, but if I can talk quickly about it. It's his first match. Again, it will take time before all that happens. But there is a concern in me that we are taking. This is going to sound rude, but Barcelona's second option, like they have Lewandowski, they don't need Aubameyang, therefore they will give him to us. They will not
Yeah.
give him to us if they needed him. And they have Lewandowski. We would never have gotten Aubameyang if Lewandowski was not in Barcelona.
But
And
you've got
that's what's concerning. Sure, he's a great player. He absolutely is. But yeah, I hope it will get good. And as Harry said, surely we really need that striker. But we had Lukaku, we had Timo Werner. None of them worked. So just signing him is not good enough in itself, clearly. But I'm hopeful, and I'm hopeful that him and Sterling can end up doing great stuff
can link
together.
up together. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Okay.
I hope, and I know he's a great player, but I am concerned, especially because Barcelona did not really need him. That's what I don't want Chelsea to get in a position where we are like taking someone else's second pick. But I mean, football is how it is. You can be terrible one place and then go to another club and be amazing. So I'm hopeful, but it's yet to happen, of course.
And the other signing that came through on deadline day, which was quite a surprise, was the Liverpool midfield loan signing of Melo. And the people have a lot of things to say about him. He hasn't had a chance to really show what he's got on Saturday. He didn't get a chance. Club didn't sub him in. So I'm thinking maybe tomorrow in the Champions League match against Napoli, he might get a signing since Keita is completely out of the squad. Richard, what are your thoughts about the signing of Arthur Melo, and hearing there's an option that we could maybe keep him permanently?
Yeah, obviously, after the deadline, there was some discussions of us obviously having the possibility of keeping him permanently. And I mean, we saw with the last loan we made with Kabak, his original team wanted us to buy him, but we didn't. So maybe that could be
That's something.
Yes, and apparently Mello has a song which is like yellow for Coldplay. It is all mellow, so I can't wait for them to sing that in the stadium. Even Lionel Messi said Melo has some likeness or comparison to Xavi. So we'll see if we can have the same impact in the game. Potentially, if we play like a 4-2-3-1, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I don't know much about him, but I hope he can have a good impact, because that's really what we need to win the games in the midfield at the moment.
Yeah, definitely strengthens that midfield, which has been an issue. And I think that's a really, really good signing.
It's just how Klopp is going to use him at this point. I just feel like
Yes.
Klopp shouldn't be. I'm sorry to say that I love the guy, but he shouldn't be stubborn, because he's very set in his ways, and he should be more flexible in his starting lineups and the way he plays the game, because people are starting to figure out how to play against Liverpool and how to outplay them, and that's something that he needs to consider. Change up the formation, change up the way you line up against the teams, because I feel like that's crucial, because you can't play predictable every time because people are figuring it out. And then the last one, I think it was on the list, was Diego Costa. Harry?
Yeah, he could be a good signing, but I know he was denied his work permit. He'll be an interesting signing for sure if he gets back. Wolves do need a striker. That is something that they are lacking at the moment. But if they can get Costa, he is a proven goal scorer.
Yep.
His age is a thing. That's the problem as well. We don't really know what's happening at the moment with him, because he has obviously been denied a work permit for whatever reason. I know Wolves are going to appeal that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all up in the air at the moment, but
maybe the signing. Yeah, maybe the signing that they need to just get him over the line at the end of the day, because they're not known for scoring goals, Wolves. But one more thing before we finish up. Do you guys think that Leicester is in trouble?
Yeah.
You think?
Because we haven't spoken about the matches. I'm just bringing it up.
100%.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think Brendan Rodgers in an interview said that he was really pleading for a management to really invest in the club getting new players because he said he felt so sad seeing other teams strengthening their teams, like already strong teams buying more players to strengthen their teams. And they just lost Schmeichel. Apparently, they could be losing Sionchu as well. Tielemans on and off, but I think it's too late for that move to happen. Like they're
But I
losing players and not improving it. So throw some
but
light,
I'm
Lauren.
concerned about I'm concerned about them for the January deadline that's gonna come up, the January transfer window, because Tielemans, Madison,
Mhm.
um, even Barnes, they all made noises about leaving, and if
Yes,
they're already at the bottom of the Premier League table, they
why
haven't
not?
won any. They haven't won.
Yeah,
Leicester. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, it's insane.
come
But
on, and Brandon Rodgers' job might see he's behind soon, and it's probably not even his fault.
yeah, absolutely.
yeah, but I think I'm going to sound so biased, but I think it's because of Michael. I really do. I think that was really bad
Silly.
for them. And the
But
thing is, they did not get that much money for him, so they
Yeah,
can't
yes,
really
but
go
my
out
but
and buy the new great keeper.
but my question is, if you are the club owner and you see that your top goalkeeper is leaving,
Yeah,
what are you doing about it?
why aren't you signing people?
exactly.
They
Mm.
Yeah,
were dead quiet
yeah.
the entire 2 months of the transfer window. They made one signing, and it's yet to. I think he came on Saturday or something,
Mm.
or on Sunday when they were playing. I'm not sure, but like I don't even know. I think he played for Chelsea or something. Um, but the signing for he couldn't play because he had a visa problem, so he
Mm.
couldn't play. So yeah, I'm worried
Yeah,
for Leicester, for the
yeah.
Foxes. I'm definitely worried
Yeah, and
for
I think a good thing with a good thing with what you said is with yeah, why are they not doing anything? And it's the same with Vardy. Like Vardy is not the same he was 1 or 2
it's the
seasons ago,
age thing.
and they are not really like they're not really doing anything about it. It's like they are still living in 2 years ago. We have this great keeper, this great striker, but one of them is leaving now, and the other one is past his prime, and not nothing is really happening, and that's like yeah, it's worrying. It really is.
I'm just surprised that we didn't talk about the Brighton versus Leicester game because that was kind of like a big game. But like honestly, like even when they've got a lead, they they squander it, and it's
Yeah.
worrisome because it's like the team is depending on Madison, and if Madison isn't performing, then
Mm.
nothing is happening.
Screwed.
But that's also something I'm seeing is that they are doing pretty okay offensive, but defensive it's really bad. It's not great at the attacking, but they're scoring a good amount of goals. But the problem just is they're even worse than Chelsea is right now with the defensive. So that doesn't really help
They're
them.
worse than Bournemouth, so that should tell you something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and just with Brighton, they score goals, but Brighton score more goals, and that means you're losing.
Okay, really. Okay,
Does
so
that every time.
okay,
I guess we can now focus on doing quick summaries just before the 1 hour 30-minute mark, and I think that will be the end of the podcast. So, with the way things are, obviously, I hate to say it again. Obviously, it's Chelsea. Chelsea didn't win. So we're seeing that Mbappe scored a second goal for PSG, and
Yeah,
a
what
big
do
I'm
you
I'm
guys?
watching
surprise.
it right now in the background.
Yeah,
Shocker.
Yeah.
what are you guys thinking about? With the way PSG are playing and Juventus as well, with having Dusan Vlahovic and all of that.
I think Juventus is not doing that well right now. I,
Yes,
I think with also with Milan winning last season in Serie A, I think there are some concerns there. They are clearly still a top team and all that, but it's not I am not seeing them winning Champions League at all. like at all. I will honestly be shocked if Juventus goes to semifinals. I really don't
Okay.
see it. And then we have PSG that's like Neymar, Mbappe, Messi. Like
Messi.
when you have
Mbappe.
when you have a team like Juventus that's not in their best, then those three is all you need. Like
Yeah.
honestly, that's it's just you don't really need anything other than that.
Definitely.
Performing and yeah.
Yeah, it's
So,
definitely looking like a super team over there. Maybe we can now talk about. I wish Alistair was here, a Scottish, fan of football, and he supports Rangers and he hates Rangers. But it
Yeah.
seems like Real Madrid, Abu's team, isn't scoring against them. What do you guys think possibly could be leading toward that?
Yeah, Abu is, for those who don't remember, Abu was in the first episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's an annoying person.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be watching this.
He's already threatened to come in if Real score. Don't let him in, Richard.
I don't think the podcast is gonna be on for that long.
Yeah, so I'm hearing some thoughts on Abdus saying that they just lost Karim Benzema. So I'm not sure if he got injured or he was subbed out, but he seems like he's not in the game. So hopefully, maybe Vinicius can have that winning impact for them, especially shining when Benzema is not there.
Yeah,
Could be a good thing for
Benzema
them.
is out. Benzema is out. That's right. I'm just looking at it right now.
Yeah,
Interesting.
huge impact on
Assad
the.
is playing instead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I want to
30,
see this
30.
game.
39 minutes is played and it's still 0-0 and it's in Celtics.
And Benzema didn't start at all?
He started but is getting taken out.
Yeah, he's
So
obviously
Hazard
injured.
replaced him. Yeah.
I
Okay.
am flabbergasted.
That's music to my ears.
So quickly, Warren is playing at a Champions League fantasy thing. And he chose Benzema, so that's why he is acting like this.
Shaka.
Oh.
Yeah. And yeah, I understand that City is ahead 1-0, right?
Yeah, they are, yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus
Harry-
Dennis is
they
playing
should,
for
they
Sevilla, actually. Back to his
Yeah.
old club for the first time.
Oh,
Well, not sure if it's the first time or not, but back to his old club. He played for City for a while.
Yeah.
A flop there, to be honest, really, wasn't he? Don't think he really did much, but Alex
Also-
Tellez is also playing for Sevilla, the United left
United.
back. He's actually playing in a front three, which is a different role for him. Playing on the left of the front three. Interesting.
Yeah.
Also, Salzburg ahead against Milan 1-0. I just think
Shocker.
that's important to mention since Milan is, as I just said, Serie A champions in Italy. So interesting that Salzburg is ahead of them. But yeah, Sevilla is a great team and not something I think people should underestimate. So City being ahead of them already is a good start to City. And City really needs the points because City is not in an easy group.
And
So,
they
yeah.
haven't won the Champions League yet, so
Exactly.
Yeah, it's the Yaya Toure. The Yaya Toure curse is unbreakable. Hopefully they don't win this season. Otherwise, we'll be hearing more noise from the City camp.
so
Yeah, but yeah, I think that can sum up this week's events. We might not be. I don't think we'll be covering the FPL because obviously there's Champions League games coming up, and we're gonna wanting to be covering those next week. So I think unless you guys have any more additional thoughts on what's been happening, this
Yeah.
could be it.
Yeah,
Europa
just quickly want to hear your thoughts on Tottenham versus Marseille tomorrow.
Yeah.
Liverpool versus Napoli and Inter versus Bayern. Just quickly.
Yeah. So
Anyone have thoughts?
I think
Liverpool versus Napoli. Liverpool have faced Napoli a couple of times, didn't they? Played last season, didn't they?
yes.
They got drawn at the same. Yeah, I think Liverpool did well in those games, didn't they? Let me have a look.
Yes, we did. We won both games, if I remember well. It was quite easy wins. Of course, Liverpool are quite, in my opinion, the best team in the multiverse. So of course, we're going to win easy games like that. So yeah, my prediction is we're likely going to win maybe 2-0. but we'll see how that goes.
Hmm?
I think I put 2-0 on the prediction as well.
Yeah.
When I did the prediction for the matches, Tottenham versus Martial. It's gonna be interesting. I don't know. I'm not gonna give a score there. But Tottenham with like, as long as they've got Harry Kane, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah.
Son hasn't really done anything substantial. They've got Richarlison, so as long as Richarlison and Harry Kane is there, and they've got that strong defense that they've got, then I think they'll be okay. I don't know Martial that much, not too much about them, but maybe you guys can add to that. But I feel like as long as Tottenham has Harry and he's got that link up with Kulichevsky and Richarlison, they'll be okay.
Hung-min.
Yeah, I know you guys are going to hate me now, but I'm much more confident in Spurs beating Marseille than I am in Liverpool beating Napoli. I'm not saying Liverpool is not winning, but Napoli is a good team, and Marseille is good as well, of course. But I would say Napoli is a stronger
But
team.
I'll just say that Chelsea is also a good team, but they got beaten today. So
Spicy.
we're just I'm just
really
saying.
bad right now. We can't
I'm
beat
just
anyone
saying.
at this point. Only West Ham.
It was 2019 when Liverpool played Napoli, actually. It wasn't last year, by the looks of things from what Google's saying.
And then Inter versus
Napoli won 2-0 that in the second leg. No, in the first leg. And then Napoli drew 1-1 in the second game. So.
Andres, you were saying?
Yeah, Inter versus Bayern, the last one, I think. What's your thoughts on that one?
Look, I've been a firm believer of saying that I don't like the new manager at Bayern. I think Nagelsmann is just Nagels flop because he's just not doing well out there. So I think it's really tough, and the team they're facing isn't perfect either. But I'll say maybe they'll win. Let's say 3-1. It feels like a comfortable scoreline for those two teams.
And just a quick update. You said that Milan was losing. They just scored, so I'm just saying it's 1-1.
1-1. Yeah, but still surprising because Milan should be better than Salzburg. But yeah, they scored.
Yeah, they're like 7th place on the league, so they aren't the most perfect team this season, but they're scoring goals. It seems so. Will they win? Will they lose? Who knows?
Who?
When we're talking about Inter or AC Milan?
Yeah, I was just asking who you mentioned. Yeah. But with Bayern versus Inter, Inter is just not. It's the same with Juventus. I don't. They're still great, but I feel like just the Italian teams in general it's not what they have been in the past. And I feel like I don't know if I like Nagelsmann, but I think Bayern is just scary. And they always are. Mane is a great signing. They just know how to do those freaking signings. They're just always great. And sometimes it's like you don't even think about it, but suddenly they're just in the semifinals and then in the finals and then they win the whole thing. So Bayern is always there.
Bayern obviously have no Lewandowski, and now I think that was a big loss for them. He scored a lot of their goals. He was their star man.
True.
And a lot of the Bayern team is aging as well, I think. A lot of those players have been around for a long time.
Yeah.
And
very good point. But I still think they are better than Inter.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should never count Bayern out. But yeah, I think that sums it up for our second episode of the Football Home
we
podcast.
didn't discuss the Europa League games.
Managing time, but yeah, I guess we can jump into the Europa games. Maybe we can start with Zurich versus Arsenal. Predictions on that, thoughts?
Given Arsenal's form lately, you would expect them to go and win. It should be a comfortable enough game for them. I don't foresee too many issues.
Arsenal is winning that. No disrespect, but Arsenal is winning. I can't
especially after they've lost against United on Sunday.
Vengeance.
Yeah.
United versus Sociedad, Harry?
That'll be a tricky game. Sociedad won't be an easy side. I think it's definitely the toughest game out of the games that United will have. I do expect a few changes, rotate the squad a little bit. I would expect United to win, but it will be tough. I don't think it will be easy.
It won't be a cakewalk.
They're a good side.
Hmm.
And they will make it difficult. But I think United should edge it out in the end. And it's definitely the hardest game out of the three, out of all the group games that they have. But it should be easy enough victory, I think, for me.
Okay.
Yeah, agree.
West Ham versus FCSB.
I have no idea who they even are.
Yeah, me and Andres
I
were
don't know.
looking at the team, the name. We don't know anything about them, so
They are
hopefully
from
we'll just-
Romania. Is that good enough? That's what I know. I know that country.
For West Ham's sake, I do hope that they do win.
Yeah.
And I think I think after being robbed on on Saturday, I think they're gonna come because they seem to do well in the Conference League. Both the
Absolutely.
first two matches they did really well. So I
Yes.
think they're gonna come out guns blazing.
Yeah, I think with this match, this one is pretty interesting because obviously we should all say West Ham is winning, and I think they are, but because I barely know the other team, but I think what's really interesting is I don't know who I think West Ham can beat. Like I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know if West Ham could go to Bundesliga and beat the teams that's going to be relegated. I don't know right now. I think with time West Ham will be great again, but right now I don't know how bad it actually is. And when they were playing Viborg for the playoffs, they had a great second match, but the first match they only won with one goal or something like that. And Viborg was like, they're not even good enough to be in the Danish league. Like they just got promoted almost. So that's where I'm worried about. Where is West Ham? Like, can they even beat a team like this? So that's going to be really interesting seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the amazing thing about watching these European games. It's almost like the Real Madrid versus Sheriff game where no one knew who Sheriff was, and they ended up beating arguably the best team in the world. So, who knows?
Yeah.
FCSB, I don't know your name, but maybe you could pull off a big one. Any last thoughts, Harry, before we finish off?
No, all good.
Okay, thank you for watching. Hopefully you guys can like and comment and hopefully subscribe and help our channel grow to be something big, maybe the biggest English football podcast in the multiverse. Might be reaching there, but who knows. But thank you guys for watching and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Bye.